creation of knowledge, but the formation of character. We roll down a carpet of welcome to all the dignitaries and guests. Thank you all for giving us your precious time. A day without prayer is a day without blessing, and a life without prayer is a life without power. So, to enlighten us and brighten our morning, here comes Pooja Ji and Vishwesh S from second year, Department of ECE for Musical Ecstasy.
வேண்டும் வரங்களை இசைப்பேன் கேளாய் கணபதி எனக்கு வேண்டும் வரங்களை இசைப்பேன் கேளாய் கணபதி மனதில் சலனம் இல்லாமல் மதியில் இருளே தோன்றாமல் மனதில் சலனம் இல்லாமல் மதியில் இருளே தோன்றாமல் நினைக்கும் பொழுது நின் மௌன நிலை வந்திட நீ செயல் வேண்டும் நினைக்கும் பொழுது நின் மௌன நிலை வந்திட நீ செயல் வேண்டும் கணக்கும் செல்வம் 100 வயது இவையும் தர நீ கடவாயே கணக்கும் செல்வம் 100 வயது இவையும் தர நீ கடவாயே எனக்கு வேண்டும் வரங்களை இசைப்பேன் கேளாய் கணபதி எனக்கு வேண்டும் வரங்களை இசைப்பேன் கேளாய் கணபதி இசைப்பேன் கேளாய் கணபதி இசைப்பேன் கேளாய் கணபதி.
Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity, as sunlight expels the darkness of might. To make this morning a blessed one, let's invoke the blessings of Almighty by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. I invite the dignitaries to light the Kuttuvelakku.
Thank you, dignitaries. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. Their actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more. May I request Dr. J. Raja, General Chair, IC3 IoT, Dean Academics, and Head of the Department of ECE, to present the welcome address. Please, sir.
Very good morning, all of you. Respected Chairman and CEO, Sairam Institutions, Mr. Sai Muthu, and respected Principal, Sairam Engineering College, Professor Kumaran, and Chief Guest of this inaugural session of this International Conference, IC3 IoT 2022, Professor James Morris from Portland State University, and the keynote speaker, Professor Bosnia from University of Kansas, USA. And guest of honor, Professor Kumarappan, IEEE Madras Section Chair, and Dean Student Affairs, Dean Innovation, my dear heads of department, faculty colleagues, and student friends, and more importantly, the participants and authors of more than 200 papers. So, for all of you, it's a warm welcome from the Department of ECE, Sri Sairam College. This is the third edition of ICT IoT. Earlier, we were conducting international conference right after the coining become communication, computing, and IoT. This is the third edition. The first edition was in the year 2018. Then it was in 2020. Now it is 2022. I'm seeing a vast change in the way of conducting the conference right from 18. Even I was associated with the IT conference in 2015 also. On the 6 years, there was a total change in the way in which we are conducting the conference. Hats off to all my colleagues, and thanks for the management for in fact, as far as this conference is concerned, it's a overwhelming response. We received more than 550 papers we received. And the acceptance ratio is only 30%. We got extensive plagiarism check, and the number of papers to be presented is around 212 in these 2 days. So we find it very difficult to have parallel sessions, and we managed and we got the program schedule, everything. 8 parallel sessions is going to be conducted, and in 3 sessions. So today morning and afternoon, then tomorrow morning. So totally 26 tracks will be there. A very large conference. I thank the organizers and the reviewers especially for this conference. And at the outset, I welcome you all for this wonderful international conference. As far as this theme of the conference is concerned, there are 3 words. The 3 words is not simple word. The first word is communication, isn't it? Communication, computing, and ICT IoT. Just imagine that you have a phone without any SIM. What will happen? Just imagine you have a smart TV without any connection. Isn't it? You can name any gadgets. The background is communication. So communication is not a simple word, it's a wonderful word. It's a highly powerful word. And be proud that you are all doing that technical degree in communication. I am proud of being a communication engineer, always. Because we are doing wonders to the world. We are bringing the wonders to the world in terms of communication. So the first term is powerful term. Then you go to the next term, computing. It's not doing some coding in the processor in a desktop or a laptop. I'm not talking about that sort of computing. Computing is the moment you press a call for your friend, how the call is being through. It is based on again computation or computing that is happening in the background of the network. So again, the second term is also a powerful term. It's not a simple term, computing. Then if we go to the third term, IoT. This is the era of IoT. Even in the name itself, IoT starts with Internet of Things. So without communication, there is no internet. Communication is the backbone. So the theme is somehow we coined 6 years back, and it is a very good theme. And I request all the participants and students to make use of this 2 day. It's going to be a technical feast to all of you. More than 212 papers is going to be presented, and there are 6 keynote speakers that will be happening in the online in the same hall. So utilize, interact with the speakers, or you can send mail, a detailed questionnaire to them, and enhance your knowledge. Okay, with this small request, I once again welcome you all for this wonderful international conference, ICT IoT 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. And working together is success. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. So let's watch the multimedia presentation on the various achievements of Department of ECE.
We live in an electronic world. Electronic regulates our heat and light, monitors our health, maps our travel, plays our music, keeps our transport moving, links us to family and friends across the world via internet. Without electronics, our world would grind to a halt. A world where a career in electronics is a career in IT, telecommunications, broadcasting, healthcare, design, industry, robotics, art, conservation, agriculture, research, finance, anywhere that uses electronics, which is almost everywhere.
I was proud to be a part of BMW group of companies. We also received sponsorship for online courses, especially Coursera.
And a group of students was assigned to a mentor, and the mentor will analyze us and they will pinpoint our strengths and weaknesses. Our academic performance is taken care by mentors.
It is 150 plus companies coming every year, and Sairam offers you 100% of place.
I request the dignitaries to accommodate the dais.
A teacher's job is to take a bunch of live wires and see that they are well grounded. Now, I request Dr. S. Brinda, Conference Chair, IC3 IoT, Professor, Department of ECE, to brief the dignitaries and the members about the conference. Please, ma'am.
Good morning, all. Respected Chief Guest of the day, Dr. James Morris from Portland State University, USA, Dr. Bozana Duncan from University of Kansas, USA, and Dr. N. Kumarappan, IEEE Madras Section Chairman and CAS Society Chairman, Madras Chapter, and Professor of Electrical Department, Annamalai University, India, and respected CEO and Chairman, Sri Sai Prakash Leomuthu, respected Principal Dr. Purkumaran, respected Dean Affairs, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, respected Dean Academics, Dr. J. Raja, and Deans and HODs of all departments, staff members of all departments, and my dear student friends, good morning. And on behalf of the Sairam Engineering College and as a conference chair, it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to the 2022 International Conference on Communication, Computing and Internet of Things. And this conference will be held on March 10th and 11th. And the conference has received high quality research papers which highlight the most of the recent research work that strives to push beyond the limits of the existing technologies. So I extend my hearty welcome to all. And IC3 IoT 2022 is hosted by Sri Sairam Engineering College, an institution which is the outcome of the vision and initiative of Sri MJF Lion Leomuthu, founder, Sairam Group of Institutions, and Sri Sai Prakash Leomuthu, Chairman and CEO, Sairam Group of Institutions. So the theme of the conference is communication, computing, and Internet of Things. So this is an era that is gaining traction amongst the researchers. So the conference is a unified approach to seek and explore new path-breaking ideas by bringing together the best minds from industry and academia. So the conference aims to provide a distinctive platform for multidisciplinary researchers and scholars to exchange ideas, cutting-edge ideas and challenges. On this occasion, I sincerely thank IEEE Madras Section who are the technical sponsors for this conference. And about 540 papers were submitted to this conference, and we thank our international reviewers and steering committee for their valuable work. And program covers academic approaches as well as empirical studies from the industry and new technologies such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, cloud computing, blockchain, and Habidi. That is the more prominent themes in the papers received in the conference. And out of the received papers, and about 225 scientific papers were chosen and have been invited for there is oral presentation by academicians and industry people also. And we have received papers from overseas 12 countries like USA, UK, Australia, Singapore, Italy, Sultan Oman, Ethiopia, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh, and many other countries. And this making this conference truly international one. And papers published in the proceedings are selected after going through the rigorous peer review process. So the proceeding is a collection of forward-looking research work done in the field of communication, computing, and Internet of Things. And the conference is highlighted by technical papers accompanied by keynote presentations. The conference is honored to have invited 10 distinguished keynote speakers. The eminent speakers include Professor Dr. James Morris, Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Portland State University, USA. He was also the IEEE Nanotechnology Council President for the year 2020-21. And we have Dr. Bazana Bazik Jankan, who is the professor in the Department of Mathematics in the University of Kansas, USA. And we have Professor Rachel Oliver, who is the Professor of Material Science in the University of Oxford. Also the Director of Cambridge Center for Gallium Nitride, United Kingdom. And we have Professor Ira Spaziro, who is the President of SIRN and is also a IEEE Instrumentation and Measurement Society Distinguished Lecturer from Laboratory of Neuronica, Polytechnic of Turin, Italy. And we have Professor Dr. Nuno Borges Carvalho, who is the Director of DEPT, President of IEEE MDT Society, Chairman of URSI Commission, Chief Editor of Wireless Power Transfer Journal, Associate Editor of IEEE Micro Magazine, and Associate Editor of Energy Journal from the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication in the University of Aveiro, Portugal. And we have Dr. Fedrul Hasman, who is the Faculty of Computer and Mathematical Sciences, University of Technology, MERA, Malaysia. And we have Dr. Jayed Matta, who is a researcher, scientist, and developer, solution architect of Edward from Lebanon. We have Dr. Aishwarya Bandala, who is the chair, IEEE Engineering and Medicine Biology Society, EMBA Society, Singapore chapter, and Professional Activities chair, IEEE Singapore section, head of number 1 Health Institute, Singapore. We have Mr. Subodh Ajara, who is the principal architect, service provider, AAML, IoT, cloud and security solutions from R&D division, Bangalore. And we have Dr. N. Kumarapan, who is the chairman of IEEE Madras section and CAS Madras chapter, professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, Annamalai University, Chidambaram, India. The keynotes include integrating blockchain in IoT concepts and examples, artificial intelligence applications or medicine for WIPT, simultaneous wireless information and power transmission for space exploration, wearable health tech for cancer supporting care, massive IoT acceleration with the 5G, searching algorithms and machine learning, smart grid and communication. These are the topics for the keynote sessions by the eminent personalities. And this massive conference has been made possible due to the support, backing, and hard work of large number of people directly and indirectly involved. It's a great honor and privilege to have among us the world-renowned researchers who are the pioneers in the field of communication, computing, and Internet of Things, and look forward to gain from their knowledge as a result of years of extensive research work. I would like to place on record my thanks to these illustrious speakers and also extend my most sincere congratulations to authors and speakers. My sincere thanks goes to Chief Patron Sri Sai Prakash Yomothu, Chairman Sairam Group of Institutions, and Dr. Porkumaran, Principal, Dr. Raja, Conference General Chair, the Conference Committee members, and all the faculty members from Sri Sairam Engineering College who assisted in making this conference a grand success. I would like to thank all the speakers and fellow researchers who are here to share their research work and experience to all of us in this prestigious conference. I would like to extend special thanks to all the students and research scholars who assisted the committee tirelessly in organizing this conference, and to many others who are involved in ensuring the success of this conference. And I am confident that the amalgamation of the best research ideas presented in the proceedings will ignite and enhance research in the field of communication, computing, and the Internet of Things. I once again thank you all for your interest in IC3 IoT 2022 and wish you all an exciting conference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. May I request our principal, Dr. K. Porkumaran, to felicitate our chairman and CEO, Sri Sai Prakash Yomothu. Please, sir.
To be inspired is great, but to be an inspiration is an honor. A person who is not only a great motivation to all of us, but a visionary and the person who gave us belief to bring together this event. Now I welcome our distinguished chairman and CEO, Sri Sai Prakash Yomothu, to share his valuable cognizance. Please, sir.
A very good morning to one and all. First of all, my hearty congratulations for ECE department for making this third international conference. So just before pandemic, we started to have a discussion about this. So after pandemic, we are conducting an event. Thankfully, it is not online. It's a physical and people are present here. Congratulations for that. The chairs of the conference, academic dean Sir Raja Sir, Brinda Madam, and Priya Madam, Principal, Dean Student Affairs, Dean Innovation, all deans and HODs. International Conference on Communication, Computing, and Internet of Things. So this has been happening for a decade, and we are in an era where we have achieved something phenomenally well. In this era, if you think banks are afraid of digital currency. Earlier banks used to have a technology. Now bitcoins are fear for banks. So technology has emerged. Earlier we had taxis. Now taxis are afraid of Uber and Ola. So these things are because of technology, innovations. Theaters. We used to see a lot of movies in theaters. Today OTT platform. Netflix is a threat for theaters. Just see it has emerged well. It has made a huge change, but there is an impact which is there. Same time, students, they don't prefer classrooms. There are a lot of changes which is happening. Learning, Coursera. We have to congratulate all you people for making a great success in Coursera. 1 lakh courses during this pandemic is not an easy job. Achievements, opportunities, it's happening. See, that's what all activities has to be divided into 3 categories. Sustainability, whatever that we are going to do, there should be a version of it. It has to emerge well, it has to move forward. When we were doing engineering, the Bluetooth was a major invention. Today, you people are not bothered about Bluetooth. You have a transfer of Bluetooth will transfer 1 MB or 2 MB. That's a great thing at those times in 2000s. Today, you download 200 GB for it's happening in 5G. Even it will be better. All your selfies are more than 4 MB. On those days, we used to transfer a file in a floppy disk where the maximum is 1.44. Today, you don't have those kind of difficulty. Your opportunities are wide open. So after sustainability, the opportunities. It's humongous. And then it's your mobility. Mobility is not only a movement of people, even communication, devices, cargos. Today, people are not doing only manufacturing. It needs a lightning logistic. A manufactured device. Yesterday, how many of you are aware that yesterday Apple event has happened? 8th. You are an electronics communication students. How many of you have seen Google I/O? Google I/O 1, 2, 3. So I want everyone to go through that, and it is there in your YouTube. YouTube is free of cost, and everyone have access to internet. How many of you have access to internet? Everyone is having access to internet. So you are the creators of internet. So these things are available. Sir, we don't have time. That will be a major problem. If you want to manage time, is it impossible or it's possible? So the answer is with you. So interest, create that interest. This kind of, I'm really happy that there are 500 papers which has been received from various locations throughout the globe, and 200 have been shortlisted, and 10 are Sairam students. That is more the 10 students were Sairam. They got the eligibility of. How many of you are IEEE members? Almost. That's a good number. So that you have to volunteer and you have to move. So mobility, sustainability, and opportunity. That is what is available in front of you. You have to choose which way you have to travel. So once again, I thank all the guests who have been joining with us on 2 years before international conference. We need a person to be in this hall. Only then it is accepted. See, things have changed. So we have James sir from US. We have Dukan madam from US, and our Kumarapan sir, he has a NAC accreditation. So if earlier, if we had NAC accreditation, this would have been cancelled and he will not be participating. So he is taking an online and he is also joining with us. So this technology utilization, just imagine 30 years before, when we want to make a video conferencing, the cost of equipments will be $2 lakh. $2 lakh, it is. We will not purchase it, first of all. It will not be available in our campus. But today, everyone having your own devices. In Zoom, everyone is there. Earlier, one-to-one video call itself was an amazing thing. In 2015, no one has thought that Google will take off Emirates, Etihad, all airlines have been landed. Suddenly, Google has took off completely. Zoom has took off. It's able to connect Google Classrooms, and utilization is easier today. If you are not going to use it, who will be the loser? If you are not going to use it, there will be someone who will be using it. Zoom will never have a loss. Who is going to be the loser? So take a pledge that we have to contribute, we have to learn new things every day, share new things every day with your student friends. So the classrooms there was a great initiative by ECE department. Every day there will be an aptitude test in the classroom. It has been proposed by ECE. So in the pandemic, it has not been continued. So I urge the students to take it forward. You have to make that happen. You are in 3rd year, the last batch of Anna University syllabus. You have been a lucky batch in some way that nil arrear batch. Thanks to your placements are going to be tough. There are a lot of new innovation which is coming with the company. In Excellent, they have already decided to have a track record of the interview. Whoever is going to have a panel discussion with you, your interviewer will have a monitor in front of him. Your interview will be fully recorded, remarks will not be noted. A video record will be made for every student. After hiring, if you are not performing well, those video records will be taken into consideration. Your life is not easy. Technology will make life tougher, easier, authenticated. So that's how it is. So the Bitcoin and the changes, Bitcoin has become, India, Bitcoin has not been legally acknowledged, but 30% tax in recent budget. So this is going to be, the prediction is not there everywhere. Everyone is having a doubtful thing. NEP, National Education Policy, there is no proof of what is going to happen. But we have to try. Trying new things is one. Earlier, learn, earn, retire. Another life. So they will have an education, they will start earning, they will retire. But now companies are talking learn, unlearn, relearn, skill, reskill. This is not only with education system, not only with IT sector, even government is doing that. So we have to be updated, otherwise we will be outdated. So try to learn, make use of these sessions. There are 10 sessions. How many of you have decided which session you are going to participate? Today we are in an international conference. There are 10 different sessions which is going to happen. How many of you have decided this is what my session is? I am having interest in it. I am going to enter into this room and learn more things. How many of you have decided that? Stop. We should have done that. That is the basic thing. So make use of this time. I once again congratulate and thank the Department of ECE for making an extensive effort, and I request all the students to make use of this. This is for your benefit. This is for your upliftment. Ensure that you are learning something today and you are taking it for your life. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking address. I request the dignitaries to descend and occupy the front seats. Everyone can rise their own circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. One such person among us today is Dr. James E. Morris, Professor Emeritus, Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Portland State University, USA. Dr. James E. Morris, with BSc and MSc degree in physics from the University of Auckland, New Zealand, he was awarded an honorary doctorate by the University of Bucharest in 2015 and served as department chair. He is an IEEE Life Fellow and an Electronics Packaging Society Distinguished Lecturer. He is now equally involved in the IEEE Nanotechnology Council. His research interests are focused on electrically conductive adhesives, the electrical conduction mechanisms in discontinuous metal thin films, and nanotechnology education. He has edited or co-authored 5 books on electronics packaging, 2 of which have been published in Chinese and 2 on nano devices. I feel so honored in welcoming Dr. James E. Morris, and sir, I request you to share your thoughts. Please, sir.
Should I share my screen now? Okay. Okay.
Sir, I request you to start, sir. Your screen is visible.
I'm not showing it working very well. I'm going to close it and try again.
Hello, sir. The screen is visible. You're trying for full screen? Slideshow. Yeah, yeah.
No, that's not doing anything.
Yes, sir, visible sir screen. You can proceed with this.
So
you can close it again. You can start, sir, if possible. You may get the full screen.
this is just not working on my.
No issues, sir. No issues. It's visible. The screen is visible.
Let me go ahead. I will give the talk without my slides. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks very much for the invitation. I wanted to give the inaugural address here, even if I don't have the slides that I had prepared. I was going to congratulate the university on its first annual conference on communication, computing, and Internet of Things. But in the presentation, I saw that there had been a previous one in 2020. So I'm hoping that it's appropriate to congratulate you on the second biennial conference. So you can see some of the slides that I did have here on the screen. And the first one was to make the point that the IEEE, I should say that I was asked to talk about the IEEE a little bit. And I'm sure that many of you will know much about the IEEE, but I hope that I will be able to shed some additional light on things. So the IEEE started in the US, of course, roughly 100 or 120 years ago. I'm not sure of the exact date, with the amalgamation of two professional societies, one of which was the Institute of Radio Engineers. So in the early days, the IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, as it was called, was very heavy into radio. And of course, like IBM is no longer international business machines, IEEE is no longer the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. It just goes by the acronym IEEE, because the IEEE now consists of almost all disciplines, including geologists, managers, sociologists, physicists, chemists, biologists. I was surprised to know that one of the journals was stocked in kept in the nursing school in one university, because it was regarded as vital to nursing education. So along with the fact that it is no longer only for electrical engineers, although it started in the US, it's now truly international. I'm going to read a few things out here because the largest proportion of members of the IEEE are still in the US, but they are decreasing. And what is increasing is Region 8, which was basically Europe, and Region 10, which includes China, India, Australia, and New Zealand. Region 10 now accounts for about 30% of the total membership, with about 126,000 members. So the total membership is roughly 450,000, which includes over 120,000 students in 160 countries. The IEEE is all broken down in various ways. In the geographic part of it, members and geographic activities, there are 324 sections. Now there's also 40 technical societies because now each society is specialized in some area. And the biggest, of course, is the Computer Society. And the smallest I had noted down are the Product Safety Engineering Society and the Professional Communication Society. They have less than 1,000 members each. So the IEEE is no longer just for electricals, and it's truly international. So it's interesting. I wish I could actually have the slides up here because in the membership by country, the US is the largest proportion of the membership, but the second largest country for members is India. And in terms of student members, the largest country, most student members is India, with the US second and China third. So as an example of this, in the Nanotechnology Council, we have gone from 3 student chapters in India a few years ago to 15 now, just in the past couple of years. So that's quite extraordinary. And India is the fastest growing population in the IEEE. So one of the things to do is how to bring Indian members more into the mainstream of the IEEE. And of course, time differences and distance and economics makes that difficult. But I am trying. I would really like to see one of our conferences in India in the near future. So there's on this slide, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Explore. Explore is where the IEEE publications are all online. It's archival in the same sense that research journals are archival, because that means that you can go and find them years later, articles. And so the papers are added at the rate of about 180,000 a year for conference papers, and about 83,000 a year for journal papers. So that's more than twice as many papers coming from conferences as in journals themselves. So I didn't mention that in addition to the 40 societies, there are 7 councils. Those are the Biometrics, Council on Electronic Design, Automation, or Electronic Design Automation, Nanotechnology, which is the one I'm involved with, RFID, Sensors as the biggest council, Superconductivity, and the Systems Council. And so they are created because one recognizes that the interests of the societies overlap. And so rather than having turf wars, the councils are created. The councils do not have members like the societies do. When you join the IEEE, you will probably want to join a society in your particular area. A lot of people join several societies, but you can't join the Nanotechnology Council, for example, as a member. The good part of that is there's no member fees. So IEEE has coined the term participants. So you can register as a participant. That by itself just gives you the newsletter, but then you can get involved in other ways. So it costs nothing for an IEEE member to join a council. The interesting thing is that we just discovered you don't actually have to be an IEEE member to join a council. But that by itself, that you can't vote, hold office or anything else without joining one of the member societies. So that you can do that by going to the IEEE store and just checking a box to join the appropriate council. Moving on to publications, most people, if what they know about the IEEE is its journals and conferences. I'm not going to go into details here because there's a number of, for example, 22 of the top 25 journals in electrical and electronic engineering are IEEE journals. And so there's a number ranked as the top journals in their field. The one thing I did want to mention is that there are now a number of open access journals. And so you don't have to be a member to read articles in there. And so that's an advance. And I think there's about 20, well, there's some have been around for a while, but I think there's 20 new ones that are 2 years old. They don't have impact factors yet, but after 3 years, they will officially have impact factors. They are indexed, and so and all other ways they are, and they do have preliminary impact factors. I'm not sure how they're calculated. So I'm talking about chapters here, and chapters, I'm sorry, yes, chapters. Chapters are an interesting thing because the IEEE structure, management structure, is complicated. At the top is the members that form an assembly. I'm not sure if the assembly ever meets. Then there's a board of governors. And by and large, there are some activities off to the side, the educational activities board, the standards association board. There was one limited to the USA for professional matters. the IEEE USA. They're independent, and also Eta Kappa Nu, which is the long-standing American Electrical Engineering Honor Society, is now within IEEE. But the two major activities are the member and geographic activities, which controls sections. They own the sections, and since chapters are owned by the sections, they control chapters. Most people don't know that. The Technical Activities Board has all of the societies and councils. Now, the societies and councils, quote, have chapters, but they don't really. But they support the chapters. And so the chapters reach out to both the section and to their technical society. So that's a little bit odd, but that's the way that it works. So not sure if you've seen this, but I have the last slide up, but it's the second to last slide that I want to talk about. The question is, what can the IEEE do for me? Is it worthwhile joining the IEEE? Though there are provisions for reduced fees related to income levels in different countries, typically that's still expensive in some countries. That's why I mentioned that you can join a council without being an IEEE member. I don't think the IEEE wants you to know that. But to get the most out of the IEEE, it's like everything else. The maximum benefit follows your involvement and effort. And I have know of cases where students' IEEE measurements led to their first job, for example, because of the contacts they've made. For example, in a local chapter, going along to the chapter meetings, you meet working engineers in your community and the area. And when you're looking for a job, they are contacts. And you don't say, roll up and say, please give me a job. You would ask for advice on finding a job, and it's amazing that the number of times that advice turns out to be, give me your resume. So so get engaged and meet people. That's the important thing, important function of chapters. In particular, industrial contacts, because engineers in industry often can't go to a lot of the other functions. And so their chapter, the local chapter, is their means of meeting people. So join a society or a council and publish. If you're graduate students, publish the results of your research. Take a PhD dissertation or master's thesis and identify what's new and write it up and submit it. You have to start somewhere. And the other way you can do this is through conference presentations. For example, what you have here. It's better when it's face-to-face. So this new regime that we're living in with COVID doesn't offer the best of both worlds. So once you're doing that sort of thing, then move up. Participate in the committees, particularly technical committees. Technical committees end up often acting as program committees for societies. In conference program committees, solicit papers, do the reviews, chair sessions. And so after a couple of years, you would be becoming known. So Women in Engineering, for the Nanotechnology Council, we called it Women in Nanotechnology, which is a sort of a terminology that's gaining favor. And you might be interested to know that our chair of our Women in Nanotechnology Committee is a young lady, Kanika Singh, who is, of course, from India, but works in Korea. There are other things. The young professionals in India is particularly strong. There's a very active coordinator, and you can find them on LinkedIn or on the Nanotechnology Council website. And I'm using Nanotechnology Council as an example. There will be young professional organizations in all of the societies and councils. And standards is very important for industry. There's a Tri-Engineering website and a Tri-Nano website and so on. When you get the opportunity, journals are very short of your reviewers. So post-graduation, with some experience or a PhD, you could write to the editor and say, please put me on your reviewer list. And that's another way of becoming known and then working up to an associate editor, for example, and so on. My time was up, I think. And this is, as I said, I don't know if you can see the slide there. These are some anecdotal things that I was going to finish up with, but they take too long. And so I just let you read those and finish up and ask if there are any questions. And note that, like Professor Pasek Duncan, I wish that I could be there in person, maybe in the next couple of years, COVID willing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I request you to accept the e-memento as a token of gratitude. Please, sir.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. Kindly accept this memento.
Thank you, sir. The best way to conquer stage fright is to know what you're talking about. Here we have Dr. Bozina Pasek Duncan, Professor, Department of Mathematics and Courtesy Professor of EECS and AE, University of Kansas, USA. With her master's degree in Mathematics and Computer Science from University of Warsaw, PhD and DSc degrees from Warsaw School of Economics in Poland. She's an IEEE Life Fellow, IEEE HKN member, recipient of IEEE Third Millennium Medal, member of IEEE Fellow Committee, member of 10 IEEE Technical Societies and Councils, past member of Board of Governors of IEEE Control Systems Society and Society on Social Implications of Technology, past CSS Vice President, co-founder of CSS Women in Control and first chair of CSS Standing Committee on WIC, deputy chair of CSS TC on Control Education and founder of CSS STEM workshops for middle and high school students. Ma'am, I request you to address the gathering. Please, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I would like to start with congratulating participants in the conference. That was the first, my first conference in the United States was in 1987, IEEE Control Conference on and on control, CDC so-called. And I attended, and somebody approached me after my talk. That was Professor John Ballew from Boston University, and asked me, do something, make a change in IEEE. Do you know that you were one of 2 women out of 700 presentations, and do something, make a change. And whenever somebody will say, help me or do something, I never said no. So I will continue because Dr. James Morris said so much about IEEE, and IEEE is, of course, part of me, as you already heard, but is more behind. I am very heavily involved in 10 societies, including council, including systems council, and that Dr. Morris mentioned about women in nanotechnology. So I am, just as you will see from my presentation, I hope that my presentation I will be able to use my presentation. Let me try. But I also wanted to say big thank you for bringing, I maybe use also the full screen, but then I won't see anyone. So maybe I will keep like that. Is it okay? Because I like very much to see some audience. If you don't see, I can use a full screen. So, but I will be going fast through some of those slides, but I wanted to, oh, wow, maybe it's true that it doesn't work. No, it works. Anyway, so I like very much to think about IEEE and every organization. I like very much to think like broader picture, like STEM. So it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I am passionate about mathematics. I believe that is foundation for everything, but as you've seen on screen, I wrote that engineering spans all STEM fields. And I teach probability and statistics and control and stochastic adaptive control to engineers. But in fact, that course that I develop on stochastic adaptive control serves for very diverse group for all fields of STEM. So I also represent, I am advocate for saying that science is the strongest when science comes together. So that's why when you put together, and through my presentation, you will see that I just simply cannot live in narrow box. I always go out, and interdisciplinary research is absolutely something that probably I was born with. So you can see that technology plays, and technology comes together and brings together all this. And you can see this, that women in control that I was founder starting from 2. I just developed now, this is one of the largest groups and absolutely biggest achievers in my life. So I also promote that happiness can be found in celebrating others. So I reached that level that I love celebrating, and in particular celebrating women, but also those societies of IEEE, because it's a lot of overlapping, and you can discover that some, and I would like to add, I did my homework, I look at a webpage of your university, it looks terrific. And I read also the department has like 7 of those societies. And I would like, through my talk, bring to your attention 3 more, so you will be associated with 10 like me. I represent 10 societies and councils of IEEE. And I will go through, you can see at the bottom of this is that STEM researchers are engaged strongly in volunteering in IEEE. What I love about IEEE, that gives you opportunity. You have idea, you can present, and you will always find people who will join you. So I represent that leadership, like mobilizing people and to deal with tough challenges. And in those challenges, you will always find opportunities and possibilities. And this is what is about me. And you can see, you missed that IEEE Society on Social Implications of Technology. Control System Society elected me to be representative. And since 2006, I am representative to this society, SSIT, as representative control. But SSIT made me representative to systems council. So you can see you build network. Naturally, you build network. In that system council, I am chair of diversity and inclusion, because this is something that I could say it was always through my life, to promote diversity and inclusion. And you can see how important is this society to you. So I bring to attention, and I can join me. I am chair of that universal access to technology of this society. So those who are interested, please join. It's terrific. And I have like 4 members from region 10, from India and from Australia. And I have also from other continents and other countries. And it's exciting area. And it's just so much that you could contribute as university and as the department. If you would look at my involvement, you can see I don't bring, but I wanted to bring to your attention that word founder. I always had opportunity to find something, to really promote, to bring my ideas. And that's why I love that IEEE so much. I came from a very small country, Poland. You probably hear a lot during that war now with Ukraine and Russia, and you can see Poland has a border with, and is in somehow very engaged. But I came from that small country, and it wasn't probably my choice, but I follow a man. This part is maybe not the most prestigious part or exciting part in I love my country, I want it to be, but I always say, I left Poland, but Poland never left me. I have gorgeous collaboration with Poland. I've been before pandemic. I moved to Kansas in 84. And between 84 and 2022, I've been at least 125 times back to Poland. So I am almost like non-stop traveling back and forth when, of course, when. And look, Kansas is called the heart of the United States. And I've heard the number of your students, and here is almost 30,000, so it's larger university. And for comparison, Kansas area is almost exactly the same area as Poland, but Poland population is 38 million, like California population, but population of Kansas is only, as you can see, only 3 million. So try to imagine you are in India, so those numbers are small. And this is my university, is absolutely beautiful campus, and you are welcome to visit me. Many of my colleagues from India visited me, and I have very strong connection. When I will reach women in engineering, I will tell you what I'm doing every Saturday, every Sunday on the call with India. So here is what I like to bring to your attention, that I love bringing together research and community service and, of course, teaching. But as I said, how I think about interdisciplinary research is just like getting out of the box and get new ideas, new tools, and just focus on collaboration. And this is the most exciting part of our life. Learn from others. This is what I love very much. And oh my goodness, something happened. I lost probably all slides. Wow, can you see what is going on with technology? My goodness. Okay. Can you see something very mysterious sometimes? I call this noise in the system, and my research focuses on modeling noise in the system. I think that it's not accidentally that kind of thing occurs. This is a challenge for me. Just try to manage with the noise and model the noise in the system. This is what is my, as I always say, randomness and good understanding of randomness in system is in my blood. So I also focus my research on, I have collaboration with USC, University of Southern California, with medical school. So focus on brain, and brain is terrific platform for integrating science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And you can see that you have to bring all these people together. Dr. Morris mentioned all those fields, and you need them if you do interdisciplinary. We also talk about gorgeous, beautiful, and your university stands, conference stands for bringing together industry, academia, and government. And I wouldn't be what I am without my over 70 students whom I supervise, but among them, only one chose academia. The rest are in industry and are my best resources for developing mathematical stuff, because they come back from Sprint, working for Sprint for telecommunication, and they say, Professor, your Brownian motion is not useful. We need long-range dependence, so we need fractional Brownian motion. So then I spent almost 10 years developing calculus for fractional Brownian motion, and then all problem, control problem, and so on. So those that feedback from the industry, from students that continues feedback and partnership is something that I absolutely treasure. So I stand for the strongest possible partnership with industry and academia and government. So, and it was mentioned that I was, for example, in Control Systems Society, I was founder of outreach program. For 20 years, we've been doing at every conference, technical conference like yours, we bring middle and high school students and we speak to them in plain talk and we show them our love for what we are doing. And I have 235 presenters during those 20 years, and everywhere around the world and everyone, wherever the conference is, we set up that. So the number of those students are from 50 to 700 in Los Angeles. We had 700. You can see I started in Kansas, since I didn't know anything about American education. How you can learn? You go to elementary school and you offer that I can teach students a probability and algebra using French books, Polish books, and American books. 17 of my students, I taught them for 5 years, won every single math competition in Kansas in problem solving. So this is what makes my life so exciting. You can go at every level, you can make a change. Today, I feel like celebrity in Kansas and in Lawrence, Kansas, because look, we have proclamation of governor. This is the government involvement. We go to governor and she currently is a woman. She proclaims April of every year is Mathematics and Statistics Awareness Month. We go to the city, televised city, and everyone knows about importance on mathematics, technology, engineering. Everyone knows. So this is how you do. And STEM, I always believe that takes graduates everywhere. Flexibility and success in obtaining jobs and success in national scholarships and quick promotion. So, and I have, my students are like signature. So yeah, I have that broad experience and I was, as you can see, my personality, I love going from one community to another, contribute, offer, and learn. Listen and learn. This is what is my secret. And you can see always feedback from students, from past students. Mayo Clinic is one of leading a medical clinic. And when my students went over there, what was the most important? Communication. Because physical doctors don't know equations and they don't know mathematical theorems and formulas and so on. So you have to know how to discuss with them. So, and also what she brought to my attention at that time is, of course, data science, computational data science. You have in your conference, you have three C's. I always like saying C to the power 3. So what you have in your conference is that C to the power 3 in my language. And this is what, if you don't remember anything from my talk, I want you to take away this 5 C's. Of course, you could add more C's, but I like the number 5. So curiosity, creativity, connections, communication. I cannot emphasize importance of good communication. And collaboration is the biggest joy, just to learn how to collaborate. So I wanted to say that I will skip that stuff because I wanted only that slide shows that whatever I do, like Association for Women Mathematics, I immediately do something. At my university, I founded Association for Women Mathematics student chapter. I also contributed to the Society for Industrial Mathematics and Sairam activity group. Then I founded Sairam student chapter. So I always combine society, organization, and do something for your community at your place. So your place will benefit from your connection and from your experience. This is my idea. And finally, I would like to say a few words only about something that I probably devoted all my life, about IEEE Women in Engineering. I had that privilege to be a chair in 2017, 2018 as mathematician. Can you see how IEEE changed, how IEEE became diverse and beautifully inclusive? They gave me a chance. And now today in the morning, I listened to presentation. It was orientation meeting with W, and my heart was absolutely full of joy to see what this group, IEEE Women, achieved and how far they went. By the way, next chair in Professor Ramalata Marimutu was chair before. Now the first elected chair is from Region 10, from Bangladesh, Salia Shanaz. So it's 65% of members of women in engineering are from Region 10. 65%. I learned today. So everything what I say today is very updated. It's just from in the morning. And I asked for a few slides and I received 37,000 members. Still is, of course, not what we would like to, but the change is dramatic, it's fantastic. And what I also like, Women in Control will celebrate soon, next year, 30 years. Here is Women in Engineering are celebrating this year 25 years. And I wanted to bring to your attention Extraordinary Women, Extraordinary Science Seminar Series on Friday. On Friday will be another every month, every 2 weeks, in fact. We have extraordinary talks by extraordinary women in science. So please join. You can visit a webpage, and we have so much to offer. Personally, I am very engaged in that that seminar series. And you can see also, look at that list of upcoming International Leadership Summit, and look at your region, and look at India. You have 2 from India were elected because applications is complicated, is challenging, but you can see 2 of going to India and another to Australia. So you can see how absolutely highly recognized is Region 10. You have all reason to feel the proudest people on the earth. And this is why I was so excited when I was invited to speak to you, because this is something that I am already proud of being, because when I moved to the United States, you would never believe, all my mentors who became sponsors, my lifetime sponsors, are from India. Kishan Bahiti from National Science Foundation, Praveen Varaya from Berkeley, so St. John Meter from MIT. So those were Kumar, PR Kumar, originally from Illinois, Urbana, Champaign, but now in Texas. So those are my lifetime sponsors. So when I came in 2016, first time to India, I felt like home because I knew everything about food, about culture, because I spent so much time with those people. And the recognition, please take advantage of those beautiful awards and nominate, because if you don't nominate, you won't achieve. So nominations are the most important. Please go to webpage and nominate. I wanted so much to encourage you after seeing your conference, after seeing your webpage and visiting your university. I really strongly encourage you to think about nominations. And this is thank you from Women in Engineering. And this is thank you from me. And Dr. Morris mentioned young professionals. Look, I always give credit to students and young professionals because they made my life, they made me the happiest person, feel the happiest person on the earth. Whenever I have any kind of problem, and I will bring to students, my goodness, in the matter of seconds, that problem disappears. So I wanted to recognize, and I also wanted so much to say thank you to Dr. Brinda for inviting me here, for being with you, and for giving me opportunity to share with you my passion. And if you go like that, everything works like magic. The most important is have your sponsors, mentors, advisors, all this network, which is. Thank you so much. You can always come to Kansas. And I also have a collaboration and a second residency in Santa Monica, California, in Los Angeles County. So you can always visit either USC or here, my home, University of Kansas. And the door is open. And the reason why I am always Saturday, Sunday morning with Dr. Ramalata and her competition that is called IEEE, yes, is T12. And maybe you already are familiar or engaged. So this is, I am advisor for that competition. So I am continuously learning from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I request you to accept the e-memento as a token of gratitude.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this beautiful memoir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thank you. And you can see darkness. It's very late at my place, and the winter storm is just coming, and classes for tomorrow are canceled, so I can sleep tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
And congratulations to all participants.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I kindly request the dignitaries to occupy the dais and release the conference proceedings. Now the proceedings are being released by other dignitaries. Thank you, dignitaries. A good orator is pointed and impatient. Such a renowned personality with us today is Dr. N. Kumarappan, Chairman IEEE Madras Section and CIS Madras Chapter, Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, Annamalai University. Dr. N. Kumarappan received a graduate degree from Madurai Kamaraj University, the postgraduate degree from Annamalai University, and the PhD degree from the CEG Anna University, Tamil Nadu in 2004 under QIP Fellowship AICTE, India. He is the former head of the department and currently a professor with the Department of Electrical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Annamalai University. He has 34 years of experience to his credit as an educator and researcher. He has published more than 132 international journal and conference papers. He is an IEEE Madras Section Chairman, IEEE CIS Madras Chapter Chair, and a coordinator for more than 200 IEEE Madras Section organized FTP, workshop, tech meet, and TSP gathering programs. May I now request the distinguished guest, Dr. N. Kumarappan, to address the gathering. Please, sir.
Respected chief guest and keynote speakers, Dr. James Morris from Portland State University and Dr. Bosnia Basic Duncan from University of Kansas. Respected CEO of Sairam Group of Institutions, Sri Shai Prakash Leomuthu, respected Principal of Sairam Engineering College, Dr. Porkomaran, the General Chair of this conference, Dr. Raja, as well as the Dean of Sairam Engineering College, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dean Sairam Engineering College, and student branch counselor, as well as conference chair of this conference, Dr. Brenda, dear colleagues of communication, electronics and communication departments, and head of the departments and staff members, dear students and dear delegates of this conference. Good morning to one and all. Organizing such a conference, that too for the third time, it is not an easy task. It's required a lot of time to be spent on that. Now, after spending a lot of time with the team, the ECE department is very successful to organize this conference. From the beginning, parallelly, I'm watching what is exactly happening. Finally, after scrutinizing all the papers, among 440 papers, only 30 papers they have selected. It is a great rejection ratio. And not only that, from that, they finally formed a proceeding with only selected papers. So from that, I really thank them to maintaining the quality of the conference. The main concern of IEEE organizing a technical co-sponsored conferences, quality of the papers. Each and every year, we are sanctioning around, or otherwise approving around 25 to 30 technically co-sponsored conference under the IEEE Madras section. Even it may be a largest one among all the section in India. Even sometime in North 10 also, this is one of the largest conference organizing section. Really a great task in front of us as a technical co-sponsorship to maintain the qualities. Once the conference is over, we really received plenty of comments as well as sometimes even mails. Our main thing is to maintain the theme of the IEEE. Therefore, once you within the scope of IEEE, then the papers are published in the IEEE digital library. Therefore, your scope goes beyond that. It may be even a one paper. Sometimes it creates a problem. But that is the first thing to be done. And the second part is we really have to thank the reviewers, a good team of reviewers. That's why they get good papers finally to be presented in the conference. They have spent a lot of time on that throughout the globe. They helped a lot to acting as a reviewers without expecting anything. That is a great voluntary service. And apart from that team, and they form a different kind of team to organize this conference in IEEE Sairam institutions. Therefore, that is also to be thankful to them, each and every team, because based on their effort, only this conference finally comes out well. And beyond all that, based on today's two chief guests, one is Dr. James Morris, is involving in Nanotechnological Council. I'm happily inform you that we have a Nanotechnological Council section chapter in our IEEE Madras section. Therefore, there is a plenty of activities are going on that, and it is an interesting kind of a council. And not only that, and other speaker mentioned about Bosnia Duncan, she mentioned about the women in engineering. Last time we also organized a leadership summit, women leadership summit, and the women engineering leadership team. And not only that, they organized a SS program. I think so. She are involved in one of the activities of that program. And beyond all that, therefore, there is a plenty of events also organized by women in engineering. And even compared to all of this section, we reach the global level first only through women in engineering. That make us to feel very proud about IEEE Madras section. To reach such a level, it happened because of Professor Ramalata Marimutu. And nowadays, the involvement of that is with the same trend and same momentum, it continues. And beyond all that, touching upon the subject related to the theme of this conference, we belong to power engineering. Once we talk about that, that is exactly the recent development that took based on the grid bias. Initially, there is a fight between Thomas Alva Edison and Tesla. Edison insisted about DC grid, and Tesla insisted about AC grid. Finally, AC grid won. The reason is even to generate the power as well as transmit the power, as well as finally to distribute or otherwise consuming the power, all by AC. That's why they decided to form an AC grid. But what happened today? The scenario completely changed. Now the grid becomes AC-DC grid. Therefore, even in India, we can proudly say we are the one of the developed country, the range of the voltage bias. Once we look at electronics, it becomes more popular because of even reaching a nano technology bias. Now, even in the micro technology, we have a small number of devices are compact in size, and not only that, consumption of power is very less. This further reduces in nanotechnology. That's why it's become popular and dominating. But in electrical and otherwise power engineering wise, it is also equally developing. We really reach such a level in electrical engineering, starting from kilowatt, megawatt, gigawatt. The gigawatt is achieved because of the range of the voltage. The transmission range of the voltage we attain, even ultra high voltage transmission in India, already that lines are erected. Similarly, the DC, that is in the AC side, the DC transmission wise also we reached 800 kV. From that is very clear we are in the level of AC DC grid transmission. Therefore, now the scenario changed and the grid becomes AC DC grid. And beyond all that, any other grids are there microgrid. No doubt about it. Previously, the people required to produce a power in megawatts, like in India, like strong financially strong people like Tata, Birla, Reliance. But nowadays, it's not so. Anybody become a owner of a power producer, the owner of a power station. That is possible. We can't expect the power anymore from the government. We have to meet up the power by ourselves, to erecting a solar panel on the rooftop of the colleges and the industries. For such a way, we have to meet up the power. Therefore, from that we understand, for that we require a microgrid. Through the microgrid, you can produce even a kilowatt kind of a way, and all joining together, we can make it megawatt. And such a kind of a things, once you do it, you can connect with the grid, or it may be acted as an isolated mode. And other than that, next level of the grid is smart grid. What do you mean by that? Smart grid, you want to make it means you require a re-engineer, because we require a flow power bidirectional. And not only that, parallelly we require a communication that is also to be bidirectional. Where there may be an excess power, it is communicated through ICT and it reaches to an appropriate place. Then through a bidirectional flow of the power reaches an appropriate way. Then only we can attain a smart grid. Once you enter the classroom, all the lights are on. You come out of the classroom, all the lights are automatically off. That's called smartness. The same smartness, you bring it through on the grid, then the grid becomes smart grid. But in India, we are already successful in restructure-wise. We already implemented the restructuring, and most all the electricity boards implemented based on the 2003 Electricity Act. But now almost all are in the testing stage. Some of them make it unbundled as Transco, Genco, Disco. In our state, they implemented as Tangetco, Disco. Therefore, it is already implemented. But in smart grid, it is not so. It is only in the initial stage. Which the biggest challenge in front of them as to form a DG, distributed generation, nearer to the loads, as well as forming a smart grid, as including the restructuring. It is the biggest challenge in front of us. You make all this successfully in India, that may be a great day on. Before afterwards, the power cuts and as well as power consumption is whatever way you require, it's available in plenty. Therefore, we can, once we attain our power problem completely solved. That's what we expect once we form a supergrid. Beyond that, there is one more grid called supergrid. There may be an excess power in the other country and other continent. You can take the power from that. That is called supergrid. There is also a challenging one. It is very difficult to achieve it because we may make a visit to other country. We always go with the adapter, otherwise universal adapter. Therefore, US, the voltage is 120, in India, the voltage is 230. That way it differs. Once you make it all as an international standard one, then you can easily achieve the supergrid. With this, I introduce almost most of the grid to you, a number of avenues for the research. And really the conference going on very well. And I wish you all the best for the remaining case to be completed in a good way, and as well as for the effort taken by the Electronics and Communication Department, as well as the team together with Dr. Raja and Dr. Brenda. Congratulating all and wish you all the best. Thank you for the opportunity given.
Thank you, sir. I request you to accept the e-memento as a token of our gratitude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Now, I request Dr. E. Priya, Publication Chair, Professor, Department of ECE, to propose a vote of thanks.
A very good morning to all gathered here and those who have connected virtually. I stand here before you to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee of IC3 IoT 2022. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Mr. James E. Morris, who kindly consented to be the chief guest and deliver the inaugural address. Actually, Morris sir highlighted the importance of IEEE society and membership. And actually, we were very glad to hear from him that India ranks #1 among the student membership. That's really great, sir. And I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Bosina Basit Duncan, who delivered the keynote address on especially the STEM. And I'm happy to hear that actually her field of research interest is on mathematical models and fractal Brownian movements. That's really great. And I need to mention here that from her presentation, I saw that it was around 11:45 p.m. So kudos to both of James Morris and Dr. Duncan. So that shows their interest in delivering their expertise to the audience. Thank you. And I'm very much thankful to Dr. Kumarapan, Chairman of IEEE Madras section, for having raised the occasion and Sir's talk on the latest topic, especially smart grid and registers. Your tireless effort in shaping the Madras IEEE section is really awesome, sir. Thank you. I thank our CEO, Sri Sai Prakash Niyomuthu, sir, for his exemplary support from day one, the conference stage. Thank you, sir. My thanks to our principal, Dr. K. Kumaran, for his leadership and inspirational guidance. Thank you, sir. My thanks to Dr. A. Rajendra Prasad, Dean, Student Affairs, for his constant initiation and support. Thank you, sir. My thanks to HOD Dr. J. Raja for his perseverance act in fine-tuning the day-to-day proceedings of the conference. Thank you, sir. I'm also thankful to our trustee, Mr. P. Balasubramanian, who extended his support in all spheres, providing us with all required assistance in all phases of the conference arrangements. My sincere thanks to the member of faculty who roped up in different committees and that were the mantras too. My thanks are due to reviewers for providing their valuable comments in time and helping towards the improvement of quality of papers. My thanks goes to session chairs, repertoires, the moderators of each of the tracks, and I'd like to acknowledge and thank the supporting staff of our department. Furthermore, I would like to thank our student fraternity who helped and helping us in all aspects, which is remarkable. I welcome the participants. Hope you will get enriched in all the keynote sessions and the paper presentation sessions from this two-day conference. I once again thank everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. We pray for your blessings with all humility. Give us the wisdom to make this country a better place, to evoke feelings of patriotism and remind you of the nation's glory and beauty. I request you all to stand up in respect for our national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
ஒர்க் ஆகுது. வச்சுப்பான்னு நினைச்சோம். எல்லாம் எடுத்து வச்சிருக்கேன். நேற்று நான் கால் பண்ண உங்களுக்கு கால் போக வரவே போகவே இல்லை.
also okay, ma'am. Okay. 20th March 20. Okay. Okay. Keynote speaker. ரெண்டு செஷன் ரெண்டு நாளுமே பையன் தான் இருப்பான். நம்ம தான் பார்க்கணும் சார். சொல்லியாச்சு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்க தான் வந்து அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணாங்க. ஆமா அதான் ரெண்டு ஸ்பீக்கர். இன்னைக்கு 4 கீனோட் செஷன் போயிட்டு ஆமா கொஞ்சம் இடையில பிரேக் விட்டு ஒரு 1 hour சொல்லிருக்காங்க. மணி எந்த செக்ஷன்? ECE தானே, 3rd year. ஏன் பேர் என்ன? ஹரிஷ் ராஜ். கரெக்டா? சரி சரி. எனக்கு ஒரு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவியா? இன்னொரு பையனை கூப்பிட்டுக்கோ. என் பிளேஸ் தெரியும்ல உனக்கு? உட்கார சொல்லிருக்காங்க. சரி வேற யாராவது 2 பசங்க ஃப்ரீயா இருந்தா நம்ம கிளாஸ் சொல்றியா? ஒரு பிளேஸ்ல கொண்டு போய் வைக்க தான் செய்யணும், அவ்வளவுதான். இந்த கிஃப்ட் ஐட்டம் மட்டும் என் பிளேஸ் தெரியும்ல உங்க எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும் தானே, அங்க வைக்க தான் செய்யணும். யாராவது 2 பேர் கூப்பிடுறியா? டெக்னிக்ஸ் பண்ணிரு, வேற யாராவது 2 பேர் கூப்பிடு.
டெக்னிக்கல் போட்னா ஆன் பண்ணனும், அவ்வளவுதான்.
அவ்வளவுதான்.
ஃபுல் ஸ்கிரீன் நெட் கட்டலாம் மாத்து.
பண்ணிக்கிறாங்களா? ஏன்னா போஸ்ட் பண்ணி கொடுக்குற மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சா? ஒரு சின்ன ஹெல்ப் தான். சரி, ஒரு சின்ன ஹெல்ப் தான் வந்து அவங்க வந்துட்டீங்க, வந்து உட்காந்துக்கோங்க. காலையில அங்க போய் உட்காந்து
வந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க.
கொஞ்சம் முன்னாடி வாங்க, யாரும் இல்ல, நீங்க தான் இருக்கீங்க ஃப்ரண்ட்ல. சரி பரவாயில்ல, லஞ்சுக்கு அப்புறம் ஃப்ரண்ட்ல உட்காருங்க.
அவங்க பாத்துக்கிறாரா மேம் அவரு?
ஸ்டூடண்ட்ஸ் அசெம்பிள் ஆகுங்க சீக்கிரம். எங்க வேணா நீங்க ஃப்ரெண்ட்ல உட்காருங்க, யாரும் ஒன்னும் क्वेश्चन கேட்க மாட்டோம். இது அவர் லைன்ல இருக்காங்க. இங்கே சார் இருக்காரா பாருங்க.
இருக்காரு. ஹலோ சார். ஹலோ சார்.
அவரும் சார்.
அவர் தானே சார். அவரு குமரப்பன் சார்.
இதுல பேசலாமா நானு?
நான் பேசுறேன்.
சார் வெல்கம் பண்ணுங்க. Sir, welcome, sir. Dr. Fagrul, sir. Welcome, sir. So we have one more keynote, sir. Sir, wait for 20 minutes, then we will start, sir. Okay. So, a little bit delay in the previous program, sir. Sir, Kumarapan, sir. Sir, shall we start?
I'm with you, ma'am. I'm with you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will start, sir.
First of all, I'll share my slide.
Yes, sir.
A good orator is pointed and impassioned. Such a renowned personality with us today is Dr. N. Kumarappan, Chairman, IEEE Madras Section and CIS Madras Chapter, Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, Annamalai University. Dr. N. Kumarappan received the graduate degree from Madurai Kamraj University, the postgraduate degree from Annamalai University, and the PhD degree from CEG Anna University. In 2004, under QIP Fellowship AICT India. He is a former head of the department and currently a professor with the Department of Electrical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Annamalai University. He has 34 years of experience to his credit as an educator and researcher. He has published more than 132 international journal and conference papers. He is an IEEE Mega Section Chairman. Sir, I request you to present on the topic Smart Grid and Communication, Revolutionization, the Energy Future. Please, sir.
Good morning to one and all again. This is almost a continuation of my inaugural talk. The smart grid wise, the present day systems looks like this. 60% of them is a power plant generating electricity dominates, and in the middle of that, transformer steps up voltage per transmission. 5 to 10% transmission lines carry electricity long distances. Then again, neighborhood transformers, that we usually call medium type transformers, step down the voltage, and it is medium type of substations. It is always formed in the middle of transmission line. Then it reaches to the distribution level, that is 25 to 35%, distributes line carrying electricity to the houses. Then it reaches to the nearer to the pole of your houses, transforms and a pole step down electricity before it enters your house. This is a present day system, otherwise a normal system existing in India. The present system, what is the disadvantage of the present system? That's a question. Current electrical power system heavily rely on fossil fuel like oil, coal, natural gas. Therefore, this each and every one going on diminishing. Therefore, we can't expect any more such a kind of resources. And therefore, it's going on diminishing means till it exists, it may be helpful for us. Beyond that, we have to make our own plan to meet out the power. Fossil fuels are in limited resources on the earth, and there is an emerging crisis in the world because of this not sustainable kind of things. That's why it's not possible for us to utilize continuously the oil, coal, natural gas. Not only that, due to that, the environmental pollution also created. Now we are in a position to avoid such a kind of a thing completely. Then only we can produce a green power. Through that, we get a green power kind of a resource, plus instead of this oil, coal, and natural gas, other kind of resource also we get. The shoes in front of us is old power infrastructure grid. The grid wise, once you look out, almost all become aging. Therefore, according to the reliability kind of a ways, if it is get repaired, we can replace it. And otherwise, we make a continuous maintenance. That's called preventive maintenance. The better way of maintenance is, compared to all other kind of a maintenance, the preventive maintenance is the best one. The preventive maintenance is the best one. Therefore, beyond all that, now what happened during the power system structuring becomes very bold. Now this whole thing to be changed. We are in that stage. The investment is less in the grid. Therefore, to make such a big change, we have to invest a lot. Then only we can do a lot of wonders. Otherwise, it's very difficult to achieve. And as well as following the latest kind of technologies, the power can be produced. For that also, you require investment. Outage and the power quality issues. But there is a different kind of outage that happen. It is called generator outage or line outage. Beyond that outage, it may be 1 or 2. We are in a position to maintain the quality of the supply continuously. And even to maintain the quality, we always use a different kind of a compensating device. The popular one is a fax device. Therefore, the fax devices inject real and reactive power, so that we easily maintain the quality of the power. Even the last decade, one of the popular technology in power engineering to reach the top level is fax devices. For limited support for the DGs, we have only a limited supports, and for distributed generations and manual operations, we follow always a manual kind of operation, all to make it as an automated one. Now there is a limited support for DG means, what do you mean by that? That is the Only the nearer to the load, we can locate the generators. Once you do that, naturally all the loss, particularly the transmission losses, eliminated. But beyond that, before that kind of a generator is called as a dish. We have only a limited support at present that is to be changed. And other issues in front of us is reliability issues such as more blackouts. In a broad blackout, it happened. It's very difficult to manage because climbing the step, making a quicking for all that they require a supply. But in India, it is not so. We can manage easily. Therefore, beyond all that, we are in a position to maintain a reliability that may be a high index. It is around 1 maximum index. Then only we can avoid the blackouts. Lack of security of the system. There is a different kind of a securities. One is based on the line flows. It may not go beyond that. If it is we allow a flow of the power beyond that, the line get melt. That's why it's one of the security problem. And we have to maintain the flow within the limit. Second kind of a security is we already seen that's any kind of outage. Maybe a line outage, it may be a generator. Once you do that, we have to be prepared before that. That's called contingency analysis. You prepared with the contingency analysis, you can easily manage the system. Then you escape from the security kind of, we can make it a secure one, the system continuously, once you implement the contingency analysis. So that is a second kind of a security analysis. Continuity of the power supply, therefore everybody expects a continuous power supply that to it for and does not support robust information flow. Therefore, any kind of a data has to be converted into big data that is transmitted through information flow, that is through ICTs. And that becomes a great role, always through internet. Now it is lagging, that is to be improved further. The solution for this upgrade the grid, the smart way. What is the way it is to be upgraded? It uses the information, that's ICT, to improve how electricity travels from power plant to consumer. Collection of hardware and software that work together make the grid smarter. Therefore, hardware and software are collected together because that to your latest kind of a thing. Once you use the hardware and software is the latest kind of a one, then you make the grid as very easily as a smart grid. Integrate new and improved technology into operation of the grid. What are all the new technologies are available? Different kind of all the technologies to be included. Then therefore the integration can be avoided. What is the way the integration problem it occurs? Sometimes voltage violates, sometimes some other problem it happens. To overcome all that, we have to maintain properly. For example, we include any kind of a non-traditional renewable energy. It's highly invariable. Once you incorporate, it is very difficult to manage with voltages and other kind of things. Once you maintain without a violation, that's exactly you are based on the integration of the renewable energy with the main grid, nothing can be happen before you have done a good job. Automate and decentralize the decision. Once you implement the restructuring, the nature of that is completely to be automated and the decision may be decentralized. The next one is smart grid, the integration of two infrastructure. The first one is electrical infrastructure. Second one is information. These two together. The first part is called asset management. Second one, grid control. Third one, data collection, local center controls, communication, finally sensor. Through that only we can attain the smart grid. Therefore, allows consumers to interact with the grid, involves two-way communication. Now the arrows plays a very important role in this slide. Therefore, by this arrows are both the sides. It may be electrical infrastructure or intelligent infrastructure. The arrow must be both the sides. Our duty is to maintain bidirectionally the flow of electricity as well as flow of communication. Therefore, the basic structure, otherwise smart grid basic concept, the white portion is called as a domain. Yellow dotted line is called as electrical interface. The thick blue line is internal communication interface. Blue line with arrow is external communication interface. Now the different type of domain is building or commercial domain, that's building gateway, home domain, home gateway, industrial domain, industrial gateway. All these three connected through electric way. In future, electrical vehicle dominates. The petroleum vehicle going to be eliminated within 10 to 15 years. Only electrical vehicle dominates. Purpose of that is two different kind of purpose. One is transporting, other one is transmitting power. Both ways it may be helpful. Through all this managed by this multi-dwelling building. If it is building and commercial way, by the way of electrical interface, thermal storage, up to campus. But if it is internal communication, interface continues till the building and automation. Here, once you take industrial interface, starting from some meter infrastructure, meter, automation, cogeneration, distributed generation, lightning, all the electrical interface comes as parallelly the internal communication interface. Similarly, in the home gateway, starts from here. Before that is the solar generations, meter, and application. In addition to that, you add thermostat and automation, then the internal communication thing. And through the external communication, the customer service operation can interact with this. From here to, you can interact with the distribution and market. Indian markets are already formed this, but it may be very helpful for us to form a smart grid. Next one is smart grid attributes. They think about a different kind of naming. What they think, even they think about intelligent, information-based, autonomous, because you make it more as an automated one, secure, and self-healing. If it is any fault and any over voltage, it will overcome immediately. From a transient state, it brings again to the steady state. That's called self-healing. That is also happening. Next one is attribute continuous, reliable. Reliability index can be maintained even with a maximum of 1, flexible. You can use a flex device, make the device system is completely flexible to maintain the quality of the power. And not only that, it may be a cost effective. It is controllability is based on timing wise. That's called dynamically controllable. The next one is smart grid attribute continuous. Therefore, we discuss about storage option later on. Power quality we discussed already. Energy efficiency later on. Demands response. Electricity market I already told. Indian markets are already formed. Self-healing also I explained. Energy generations. Therefore, these are all some of the things that to micro generation with a large network and smart meter. Through smart meters only, we can interact with the grid. Therefore, it may be we're using the isolated kind of microgrid. Involving the smart grid, we can interact with the grid easily. And the latest kind of a advanced component, power storage. With that, we can manage the system very well. And smart grid attribute continue. An outline of this is the talk is integration of renewable, advanced sensing and measurement, integrated communication security, advanced component and system, distributed automation. Therefore, an outline. The first one is integration of renewable. I already told you all the traditional and non-traditional and everything highly invariable. Therefore, once you make integration, you have to maintain the voltage. And not only that, through that, once you locate nearer to the load centers, that is losses minimized. Renewable energy listed as wind, hydro, solar, tidal, geothermal. It goes on, you can add number of things. Advanced sensing and measurement. Therefore, advanced sensing and measurement, it happened using advanced meter infrastructure. We have to use a pressure measurement unit. Through that, we can measure the abnormality. Abnormality can be measured only by waveforms. That's called transients. Transient can be measured using the pressure measurement unit. From that, you can test the healthiness. Then once you find out the fault, and if it is which type of fault, then you can easily restore the problem again based on this measurements. But that's called advanced sensing and measurements. The present system is consumers applies for supply, open accounts and collection deposit, turn on support, supply, read meter, prepare bill, send bill, collect payment, manage areas. It's a very simple kind of a way, only one side flow. Smart grid and outline continues, advanced sensing and measurement, enhance power system measurement, and enable the transformation of data into information. Evaluate the health of the equipment, the integrity of the grid, and the support advanced protective relay. If anything it happened, abnormality happened, immediately the information is sent through the relay to the protective system, that is circuit breaker. Then it isolates the particular place, it make an isolation. Then at the earliest, you can restore again, bring to the normal state. Enable the consumer choice and demand response, help relieve congestion. Based on the restructuring wise, based on the cost wise, every people always prefer a shortest path and the transmission line. If it is everybody prefer the same path, naturally congestion, that is also to be avoided. The advanced meter infrastructure, I already told you, you can interact with the Smart grid enable two-way communication between the meter and the central system. Smart meter advanced functionalities, real-time electricity pricing. When we realize the price, till now we know only the cost. Now, because of the introduction of this restructuring, we know price. The difference between the cost and the price, that is exactly the profit by the supplier. Customers always require a minimum cost, supplier always require a maximum profit. It is a very difficult task in front of us, according to the past some restructuring wise. For that, the first one is the price. That real-time electricity price you can find out through the advanced meter infrastructuring, that too by smart meter. Accurate load characteristics, that is also by smart meter. Outage reduction, once you find out outage reduction, our duty is again to restore. Outage reduction and restoration can be done using a smart meter. This may be a prepaid or postpaid configurable. And this kind of advanced meter infrastructure, you have to watch on the arrows. Arrows may be bi-directional. Single family home, your smart meter, utility office, communication device, and utility port, all by two-side arrows, bi-directional flow. Phase measurement unit, the measuring electrical waves and determine health of the system. I already told you, using a pressure management unit, you can find out the health unhealthy waveform. And once you find out, you can find out which type of fault is it. Then you can restore at the earliest. Increase the reliability by detecting the fault earlier, allowing for isolation of operating system and prevention of power outages. It was smart grid and outline, integration, communication, integrated communication security. What kind of a communication we are using here? Wireless sensor network. Once you use integrated communication security, high-speed, fully integrated two-way communication technology makes the smart grid great, dynamic, interactive for real-time information and power exchange. Once this kind of a wireless sensor network, it involves naturally cipher security problem also happen. One that is, we are in a position to avoid such a kind of a cipher security problem. The new communication mechanism should be considered secure and reliable. Not only that, we have to maintain the quality of service. Therefore, cyber security, once you concentrate, not only you can maintain a communication system as secure, reliable, and quality of service. And wireless sensor network, the challenges of wireless sensor network in front of us for the smart grid is harsh environmental condition, one thing. Second one is packet error and variable link capacities. Third one is resource constraint. We have to look at all this and concentrate and try to eliminate all this. And not only that, there is an interference with the electrical line. Communication line is there. Nearer to that, if it is a high voltage line, there may be an interference. Therefore, that naturally affects your wireless sensor network, will severely affect the quality of the wireless sensor network. Therefore, that kind of interference to be eliminated. Smart grid and outline continue, advanced component system. I already told you previously, I'll talk about this later. Now, this is maybe the stage to talk about advanced components of system. Therefore, it based on the material of the battery storage system is based on the material of sodium sulfur. Based on 1 kg of material, it produces 150 watts. If it is based on the nickel metal hydride, 1 kg of material produces 250 to 1000 watts. Lithium ion means with 1 kg of material, it produces 1700 watts, up to 1700. If it is 1 kg of material, supercapacitors produce 1000 to 10,000 watts. Very important. Storage devices, even when it reaches the level of a megawatt. That is a great thing. That's a great thing. It reaches in megawatt. And initially, they find out electrical energy is basic mining energies are converted, including chemical energy, all kind of energies. But the reason is it is easily transmittable. But disadvantage, not possible to store it. Now the storage technology improves like anything. We can use the storage technology in plenty of way. That too, the hybrid way, that may be very helpful for us to maintain our quality of supply. Advanced components of system, you can use electrical vehicle, plugged in hybrid electric vehicle. Once you charge the vehicle, that may be vehicle to grid. You are supplying power from the vehicle to the system, that's grid to vehicle. And what exactly it will do? When we toggle according to the load pattern wise at the time of peak load, you make the peak load as off peak, then every problem is solved. That's called peak load leveling. So using electrical vehicle, you can easily make a peak load level. For that, even you require a very few kilowatts, then you make the peak as off peak. That's possible. Next one is smart grid. An outline continues. Grid sensors. grid sensors. The grid sensor bridges utility IQ voltage optimizer, the utility IQ power monitor. Using all this, make the system as completely automated one. Then you have all the problems are solved, everything to be done automatically. The present grid, what is the way it looks like? Which one is missing here? Information flow in one direction from meter to utility system, manually read by meter reader or transmitting information to the utility. Therefore, which one is missing here? Information flow. Once you incorporate this information flow, the grid improves. But this slide, watch carefully. Now you watch on, there is a blue line that is secure communication interface. Blue line, yellow dotted line is electrical interface. White portion is the domain. There's a different kind of domain: bulk generation, transmission, distribution, customer, service provider, operation, market. But electrical interface is only between bulk generation, transmission, distribution, customer. But secured communication interfaces with all. For example, you take bulk generation, it communicates with market, generation to operation. Transmission, it communicates with bulk, market, operation, and distribution. Distribution communicate with transmission, market, operation, and customer. Customer can communicate with distributors, market, operation, and service provider. Service provider can communicate with operations, market, and customer. And market can be communicated with bulk generation, transmission, distribution, customer, operation, and service provider. Operators can be communicated to all: market, service provider, customer, distribution, transmission, bulk. From this slide, what you understand, compared to electrical, communication dominates. Compared to electrical, communication dominates. Therefore, once you be required dual degree people or multidisciplinary people, or separately as electrical people, electronics people, communication. To make the grid as smarter, we require a big team. Join with that big team, make the grid as smart. Not only in India, there is already most of the grids are they make it in abroad. Even you are interested, you go and join with them. The existing grid like this, the modernized grid is added with hydrogen energy, fuel cell. Fuel cell very important. It works on the principle of hydrogen energy. And the fuel cell is, the difference between a storage and fuel cell is, storage only the discharges, we make a charge. But in the fuel cell, till the material exists, it works, that's all. But very important message is, even it works on the electrochemical principle, it is a green energy, very important message. And you want to produce a megawatt using a solar panel, that's called solar park. Using a wind energy, you can even produce a megawatt, that's called as a wind farm. And you can erect most of the solar panel on the rooftop. Through that, you can save the land cost. Therefore, combination of heat and power. Therefore, that is called combined heat and power, CHP. Therefore, you can add the heat exchanger. Already the steam is available, extra heat exchanger. It improves the efficiency further. But CHP also plays a very important role in modernization. And magnetic energy storage, that is also plays a role. But that way, you can modernize the grid. This grid looks like this. This IEEE kind of way. You can modernize with the IEEE continuously releasing the data. You can use all the data and make the grid as smarter. Concluding, I already told you, the challenge in front of us is you have to locate the DGs nearer to the load. First challenge. Second challenge, make it as a present system as a restructured one or deregulated one. Through that, and once you make an unbundling, you are in a position to bid the power in the market. You must be successful with supplying with the less cost with the consumers and maximum profit with the suppliers. And third one is make the grid as smart by the way of utilizing a smart grid before you attain using the bidirectional flow of communication and bidirectional flow of power. But these three challenges in front of you. Once you make it this as a successful one, then the whole electricity problem, power problem can be solved. Smart grid has been conceived to be the future of electrical power system, with high penetration of renewable energy resources and energy storage unit, along with advanced security features. Thank you. You have any questions? I'm happy to answer it. you have any queries, I'm happy to answer it. Otherwise, thank you.
Hello, sir. Audible? Sir?
Good. Audible, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable message with us.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I leave, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Camera on.
கேமரா நேரம் வந்து சரி நீ பேசுற.
The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. Now I welcome Dr. Fakrul Hasman, Faculty of Computer and Mathematical Sciences, University Technology, Malaysia. He is an AWS certified cloud practitioner. He was graduated with BSc from Case Western Reserve University. He learned his MSc and PhD in computer graphics from University Putra, Malaysia. He is currently the president for Fulbright Alumni Association, Malaysia. May I request Dr. Fakrul Hasman to share your thoughts about the topic integrating blockchain in IoT concepts and examples. Please, sir.
Okay, thank you, Madam MC. So let me share the screen first. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank the organizer for the 2022 International Conference on Communication, Computing and Internet of Things for inviting me to share some things on blockchain in IoT. So this afternoon, I'm going to talk about is integrating a blockchain in IoT concepts, and I'm going to also share some example in this area. So just now, it's a very interesting talk by Dr. Kumar talking about the smart grid, right? So the smart grid, of course, that one is on the IoT. So the detail, the implementation detail of this IoT, you can infuse, for example, blockchain. Before I'm going to combine the IoT and blockchain, let me just touch a bit on both of IoT and the blockchain. So in terms of the IoT, the Internet of Things, so the Internet of Things, or the thing about the online sensors, have been with us for quite some times already. Actually, the first telemetry system is in 1912. It's a very long time ago. Change this to, where is that? I'm going to find my pen. Okay. So it's in 19. Oh, sorry. Wait. Then color is right. This one. Okay. Why it is not working? Hang on. There. All right. So in 1912, so it's a very long time ago, in 100 years ago. So we already have used a telephone line to monitor data. So that is IoT. I think that is the granddaddy of the IoT. It was expanded to weather monitoring in 1930s. So in 1930s, they have another one. And then in 1957, we have the Sputnik. So in a sense, when we talk about online, then we have this satellite base, and Sputnik is one of the initial one that is placed on the space to have this communication. 1980s, we see the SCADA system. So the SCADA system is also online. It's also online based. You have the sensor, and then you have the online system over there. And then in 1990s, we have the progress towards wireless technology. So before this, the online system are wired. We have wired system, but right now we have the wireless system. So that will be in 1990s. And then in 1995, you can see, for example, the mobile phone. Before that, we have a machine-to-machine. It's a very general machine-to-machine. And then in 1995, we have cellular phone to machine-to-machine. Okay, so my point over here is the IoT is actually not something new, but maybe it has a fresh look, a fresh view of it. So these are some examples of the machine-to-machine at the 70s. And then there are also some efforts, for example, from the Carnegie Mellon that attempted to come up with the Internet code machine in 1982 and 1990, the Internet code machine. You have Internet toasters and coffee pots with webcam. Okay, so yeah, the efforts are already there for quite some time. So by definition, so we have this from ITU. It's a global infrastructure for the information society, enabling services by interconnecting things based on existing and evolving interoperable information and communication technology. So it is about interconnecting things physically and virtually. That is Internet of Things, IoT. And the fundamental characteristic of IoT will be interconnectivity. So definitely, if you have the IoT, you must have some interconnectivity between component devices, sensors, and so on. It supports heterogeneity, meaning that you can have all sorts of sensors. It doesn't have to be homogeneous. It can be, for example, sensor for temperature, and then you combine with the image, the camera, and so on. You must have this heterogeneity. And then another thing is dynamic change. The state of devices changes dynamically. This is something that is quite unique. It's very different from, for example, Wi-Fi, right? On the Wi-Fi approach, you have a very fixed devices in the LAN. For example, you have a LAN, the local area network. In local area network, you have to register yourself. if you have a new computer or something that you have to register yourself, it takes some time. So for example, yeah, or you must have your login name or user password before you be accepted, and there is some limitation for it. But for IoT, the goal is to have this connection, and this connection to become dynamically changed. Okay? And then we have the anonymous skill. So the IoT is expected to operate in a very large scale, not only like, for example, just now that like land. If you notice, there's the chip local area network equipment can only support, I don't know, around 20 devices, 10 devices only. Yeah, in theory, for example, you're allowed like 255. I remember the IP address 255, 255, 255, and 255. So usually you change the last section. So the last section you only have around 255 devices. Yeah, of course you can manipulate all this, but this one shows that you have some finite number that you have to play with. So once you arrive to the maximum of that finite number, that you have to think about how to expand it. But in terms of the IoT, you don't have that issue. That is by design. They expect the system to be able to expand, and inside. And the movement is from IoT to the Internet of Things. So after this, we're gonna see the so-called movement from the IoT to the Internet of Things, Internet of Everything. So eventually, right now, maybe the Internet of Things is a very confined to the sensors only. But then in 2030, you can see more on the connected cars, on the mass wearables, cognitive computing, artificial intelligence. So you can see that everything is adopting the Internet of Things. So everything is adopting this Internet of Things, where eventually everything will become Internet of Everything. Okay. So yeah, we are over here. Things are moving very, very fast. I think we already have this mass wearable. Right now, yeah, the connected car is already over here, and yeah, we are moving towards this artificial intelligence and cognitive computing. Right? So as I said in the previous slide, so IoT is already everywhere in our life. Okay, so we have to be aware of this. For example, you guys as engineering students. So afterwards, when you are graduating and go to work, so usually you'll be encounter all these IoT devices. We have from the smart buildings, the controller for the aircon, is the aircon controller, the lighting controller, energy management, biometric access. That will be under the building. And then in the asset management, you'll be looking into the logistic, you'll be looking into tracking, maintenance, and the response. So the video surveillance in IoT, you will look into the traffic and monitoring, the crime prevention, national security, public safety, and those. So for consumer, I think these are the ones that we are used to. The smartwatch right now is everywhere, but of course the smartwatch, as of now, yes, you wear it for fashions, right? So maybe in the 5 years or 3 years from now, it becomes like your mobile phone. Now, it will be used, for example, employee tracking, location tracking, and notification and job scheduling. Maybe who knows, right? Afterwards, the message will go right to the smartwatch as more people are wearing the smartwatch. So you have the wearable cameras and smart glass solutions. Smart glass solution after this. So we have the metaverse. We have those they call it extended reality. We have the extended reality. So the extended reality will rely on the kind of smart glasses solution. So before this, we have the Google Eye, but of course, there's some issues about privacy and so on. But the Google Eye will re-emerge into something else, a new reincarnation, so to speak. Okay. The IoT, if you look, this is one example by Libelium. This is one website from libelium.com. Libelium Smart World. Okay, you can see the IoT implementable in so many areas, like in the air pollution, forest fire detection, offspring care, sportsman care, structural health, and so on. There are so many. Actually, and that's why the direction is about IoE, Internet of Everything. Because if you look over here, you will realize that IoT will be implemented in all sorts of life. This example is from the smart city actually. So in smart city, you have this, and definitely in other areas like just now, Dr. Kumar talked about the smart grid. So smart grid is somewhat over here. Yeah, it has its own IoT implementation. We have the intelligent shopping and so on. Okay, so what are the factors that pushes IoT to thrive? This is also important for us to know before we can implement IoT, right? So if you want to do something on IoT, you need to know. Okay, you need to make sure that you have all this. If you don't have, for example, wide usage of wireless technology, you may have something IoT, but that is not. You'll be very confined, not very meaningful, right? Because the IoT is, remember, is Internet of Things, right? So it relies on the internet. If that area have a wide usage of wireless technology, then that is good. That is one candidate for IoT implementation. And then advancement in energy technology. For the time being, battery technology has repeatedly progressed. Now we have a battery that lasted for a very long time. 1 day, 2 days. For your mobile phone, you have 2 days of battery life. But for other things, you already have like 7 days, 1 month, 1 year kind of battery. So it depends on the kind of implementation, right? So this advancement in the battery, for example, or energy or battery technology is very good for IoT because remember we have the sensors. So the sensors, if you put somewhere on the field, then of course the big question is how will you power the sensors, right? So if you have this battery that is capable of powering the sensors for a very long time, then the IoT become feasible. So these are another factor for IoT. So the battery factor. Next, we have the data explosion. So lots of data came from lots of devices. So for the time being, because we have mobile phone and so on, so there are lots of things that is being captured by the mobile phone that is untapped of. For example, if you think about your camera, you take your selfie, you capture your selfie and so on. How many of those pictures that you have taken, utilize it? Maybe you have like 1,000 pictures taken for once, and then you just forget it, right? You just forget it. Maybe you will make use of maybe 1 or 2 out of those 1,000, and the remaining 900 pictures are left unused or untapped. Okay, so this become loss of data. The same thing, there are some other information that for example, some sensors, movement, and so on. So if we did not tap that data, it become lost. So this is also one of the need or the push towards IoT. So we have this data. Why don't we take the data and resell it, or we can push it to some AI module or component that can do something with it, right? Okay. And the next one, the push for the IoT is the heterogeneous demand. So different people have different demand. Okay. So that's why we need to have a system that is very flexible, very portable. If before this we have a very dedicated system, for example, only the camera, right? We have a camera, and then other people don't want a camera. They want a voice recorder, for example. So it becomes very difficult. So you have to acquire the second one, the second commander, the second. You have to acquire both the player, right? So with the IoT system, so now we can integrate this heterogeneous demand into one system. And this system, the beauty of the system is you can make it talk under one format, something like that. All right. So that is IoT. I believe some of the speakers are already talking about IoT. Some of you who are presenting papers are talking about IoT also. Okay. So the next one, I'm going to move to the blockchain. So what is blockchain? Okay, so I think blockchain is also another popular topic that is being talked about by so many people or researchers. So I'm going to give you some customary definition of the blockchain. So this one is by Euromoney. Basically, it's a system of recording information, and it's just a recording information. It's to record information that make it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat. Okay. So it's a digital ledger of transaction that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer system on the blockchain. The decentralized database is known as DLT, so distributed ledger technology. So but basically, the blockchain is you have this distributed system, duplicated system, right? So what are the essence of the blockchain or DLT, a distributed ledger technology? So this technology, the big thing is it's programmable. So we have to keep in mind about this. We have to keep in mind about it. It's very important because programmable allows you to do many things, makes your system very flexible. Remember just now we have the flexibility, the heterogeneous, right? The IoT requires to be heterogeneous. It has a large scale. So by having a programmable feature is very important to accommodate all this. Then the DLT is a distributed system. So when you have a distributed system, you will have the transparency, okay? Because everyone will know what's going on. So once you put some information into the system, everyone will know. So and it also has a security module. The all records are individually encrypted. So you have security. It has a so-called immutable, meaning that it doesn't have deletion system. It has if you have to delete, you just have some flag or status that say, or this data is no longer valid. So we have that kind of thing. So they call it immutable. So you can still see what are the deleted, what are the removed data. Right? We can see the removed data or the wrong data we can see. But yeah, of course, there is a label over there that the data is not used anymore. It's anonymous. The blockchain is anonymous and it's unanimous. So unanimous meaning that in order for us to add the block inside the system, most of us will have to agree. So the DLT is a democracy. It's a democratic system. So more than 50% has to agree for a block to be added inside the system. So the more than 50% has to agree for information to be added into the system. Okay, so that is also very important in the DLT, and it has a timestamp transactions, timestamps recorded. So you have timestamps. So these are some distinct features of the DLT or the blockchain that we have to look at and we have to bear in mind when we want to implement the IoT inside. Okay. Again, over here, I have another illustration on the diagram on the blockchain network, where if imagine if we have different people here, this is something they call it node. Like for example, this is your PC or a node. Okay, so when you join the blockchain, you will be given a ledger, and the ledger will be duplicated. Okay, so for example, if organization B updated the ledger to have an A, then everyone over here will be given A. So that is the system of blockchain. So this is like the carbon copy system. It's a carbon copy system of the old days. Okay. So if you ask me why you use blockchain, then maybe you should ask why people use those carbon copy system before this, right? So when you buy something, if you go to the bank, you open a bank account or something, then you fill the form. Usually you have to fill for 3 copies. One is given to the bank, one is for you, and I don't know, maybe another one is for records. So the same thing if you want to purchase something big, right? You purchase a fridge or car or bike, then usually when you have this carbon copy system, you have this agreement that you sign. So one copy is given to you, another copy is saved by the seller or something, or another copy maybe be given for submission for income tax, for example, right? So blockchain is the digital version of the carbon copy system. So blockchain has 4 main types of the architecture. You can say it's architecture. So you have the public blockchain. So this is there is no one controlling the blockchain in the public blockchain, so to speak. So so they say that the public blockchain, no one is controlling the blockchain. Then we have the private blockchain. The private blockchain is the one that you build on your own. You control it. The one who's the one who's gonna authorize the issue. So that is a private blockchain. You also have a consortium blockchain. So the consortium blockchain, for example, the universities, so they have multiple universities, they're working together. So we have to approve or to do something, we need some decision has to be agreed by these different universities, right? So there is a form of consortium blockchain. So the hybrid usually will be a combination of A, B, and C. It's either A plus B or A plus A or A plus B plus C is E depends. So there will be a hybrid also for different purposes. And then there is another term that is being used for the blockchain, which is the permissionless and permission. Okay, so yeah, like the one that is being controlled, the hybrid and consortium, usually these 3 permission of the private consortium or hybrid blockchain are usually under the permission. See this over here. Private and consortium definitely is a permission because you are the one that is you're controlling the thing, meaning that whoever want to join, you have to approve whoever want to join. You even will control who have the power to do the mining or to do the authorization. Hybrid will have both. Maybe some side of it you control, but another side you just open to the democracy to vote. Okay, so and the public, there is no central authority like Bitcoin or Ethereum. Everyone will do the voting. Thus, we have to follow what the consensus is saying. So originally, the blockchain is the backbone of cryptocurrency. So during its inception, the blockchain usually comes with a cryptocurrency. We talk about cryptocurrency. So basically, blockchain, in that sense, you can have two. There are two types of product of that cryptocurrency. One is they call it coins, and another one is a so-called token. So what is the difference between the two? The coins is just coin. It's just coin, right? It's a coin, meaning that it is the digital representation of a coin. So that is the role of coins. Tokens are programmable assets. This is a bit different. I'm going to show you some examples afterwards. Lots of examples after in terms of tokens. So coins are usually used for the Bitcoin. I mean, for the cryptocurrency, we are using coins. But most of us, if you want to implement for other systems, if you want to use the cryptocurrency base, then you use the tokens. Okay? And the blockchain is increasingly being considered for other things. So you may be an expansion of crypto technology. For example, you expanded from this coin system, from this payment system, the token system, or you come up with something totally new, but you will base your thing on the blockchain. Okay. So this is the example of token. Okay, so in here, token is a digital stock. So you can imagine a digital certificate. A token is like a digital certificate, right? So for example, in this case, you will have company issues digital token for its stocks. So you have digital stocks, right? You have digital stocks, and it's a category of token. And people will pay this token. So what is that token? The digital stock. So people will pay for that token. You pay online for that token. And then if you sell that digital stocks, then the transaction will be recorded inside the blockchain. So the blockchain and tokens provide stocks ownership information. So in the blockchain, if we record now, the ownership has changes from one person to another. And with that information, the company automatically determine dividend payment through that information. Definitely. So afterwards, you can, for example, if the company want to give out some dividend and so on, you can check who's the latest owner of the token. So as you can see over here, that is the role of a token. So I guess for those who are not into those Bitcoin or cryptocurrency kind of thing, so token is more of your interest. Okay, these are another 3 examples of the token. The first one is the digital certificate or the key. Okay, so instead of giving the real number of something, you give the token. So because the token is guarded already. Okay, the token is guarded already. So for example, in this example over here, you have a credit card. You want to buy something online. You have a credit card. Right? So if you look over, this is the step 1. Download mobile payment application, enter your credit. So first is you need to have your token first. So you download the apps, and then you give your credit card number, and then maybe some information about you. This one, you have a biometric information, and then you submit to the token generator. So here over here, number 2. So you submit this number, this credit card number, to the token generator, and then the token generator will give you a token number. It will give you a token number. Once you have the token number, and then you can go shopping. When you go to the shopping to shop, and then you will be paying with the token number. You will pay with the token number. So the merchant is number 1. So we have number 3, number 4, number 5, and the merchant over here. So you give the token number. Token number. So the token number, the merchant will go to the token server. I think this is the same thing. This server is the same one. So the merchant will acquire whether this is valid or not, right? So of course, the token server say yes. So one, you say yes, it's good, then we can proceed by doing our thing. So in here, you carry around your token. So you expose the token number instead of your credit card number. That is the good. So this one act as like a digital certificate or digital key. Okay. So we have it one in Malaysia. You can go to this website. I'm going to share this thing. This slide. If you guys, I think after this in the chat box, okay, you can go and check on this. So we have this SOCA in Malaysia. It's a digital rental car key. So you can rent a car, like over here you have this car. So this car will, we have a mobile apps, the SOCA mobile apps. So when we want to rent a car, we just press something on the apps, and then the car will be start on its own. So it use digital key for that. Okay. And nowadays, the most popular will be the NFT. So the NFT people are actually putting that digital certificate inside the whatever digital asset you have, right? For example, your drawing, your video, your audio, and then that video and audio, that we embed some digital certificate to it. So now people cannot copy it. People still can copy, but you can insist on your ownership of it. So yeah, this is a very good things for this blockchain technology. Okay, so moving on, some examples of the blockchain. So just now, of course, the blockchain talks about the cryptocurrency. Right? So the blockchain, cryptocurrency. So we are usually we want to move out from that, right? Because for us, electrical engineers, engineering, we are not into banking. Maybe those people from the banking want to go into that, but those not into the banking, the fintech, maybe we want to look into other ways. So we want to look into other ways where we can still use the blockchain platform, right? So here I'm showing you one way, the way the blockchain is being deployed is through the supply chain. So as I said, the blockchain is about ledger. It's about ledger. Every transaction will be added into the ledger. So they record the transaction for each iteration of the business. Okay. So before this, we already have that. Okay, we already have that. So we have this book, this log book for every transaction. We put it into this book, this paper. Now we move it into the blockchain platform, right? So here, this is a good reading that you can try to read in this website that I've given to you. Okay, this is a conventional record keeping and the blockchain for the supply chain. So over here you can see the retailer place order, supplier, receive order. So yeah, over here, for example, you will use receipts, right? You have the receipts of order. In blockchain, we add one entry for that. Okay. And then over here, we have supply request load, provide financing to supplier. So sometimes, yeah, they give you this credit on the credit. So credit business. So what we can do is instead of the financial ledger, we have the entry over here. Okay, so shipment to the retailer and so on. Traditional way, you have some paper. So you carbon copy, right? You have one copy for you, one copy for your shipment or logistic company and so on. That shows where the product has to go. Now you use the blockchain. You put it into the blockchain. Then the retailer pays supplier for merchandise. So you want to record that. Before this, we have another receipt. There are so many. I cannot recall those receipts. Remember, because they are invoice, they have receipts. There are certain other things. LO, letter of undertaking, LOU, I don't know, the business people have so many terms for these receipts, right? So yeah, before this, you have that receipts also. So now you add it into the blockchain. So does the other transaction like supply rebates bank, closes loan record, return unsold or damaged merchandise. So all this before this, we have some paper trail, right? We have a paper trail. So we make sure that the paper, because you want to record the activities. So now with the blockchain, we just add it to the block. Okay, and the user will rest assured that will not be tampered with. That is the good thing about the blockchain. Okay. Here I have some right. Okay, so I have here is some blockchain implementation examples. We have from the oil supply, Abu Dhabi and IBM over here. You can check it at the offshore technology over here. And then we also have blockchain and diamonds of the De Beers. Also have a blockchain supply chain program to keep the track mining methods, tracking mechanism. So that one is from the diamond supply, because based on the problem that they have is actually the process of extracting the diamond is very high risk. So you need experts, train people to extract those diamonds, and then we have some people to be on standby. And then they need to monitor, for example, the environment. Is it toxic or is it poisonous and so on? So people has to do it. So now you have people doing it. But if people did not pay attention, so some disaster might happen. So you can automate that, right, by using some sensors and so on, and then to make sure that everybody manage and control. So we have the blockchain. Blockchain and food supplies are the thing that people are doing. Many researchers are doing it over here. In this case, we have this Walmart, JD.com, and IBM and Tsinghua University. I think India also have some other blockchain and food supply initiatives. We have this fashion designer also have blockchain. The purchase clothing is legitimate and produced in factory. Okay, so for this one, it's because of the copycat. So sometimes people want to copy the designer, right? So yeah, the Gucci, Chanel, and so on. So they want to make sure that people are confident that when they buy, they don't buy the copycat. So you will have a blockchain implementation that can keep track of that. Likewise for the wine supply. So the wine supply, what we have here, the legitimacy of the wine again, so that make sure that the wine is legit, it's original and legit. So it's very there are many advantage of using the blockchain in our transaction. Okay, another highlight of this blockchain is smart contract. Another highlight of it is the smart contract. So blockchain has a smart contract. Not only you have this digital log, digital record, carbon copy system like before, we have the so-called smart contract. Okay, so in the smart contract system, first two parties have to agree on the rules, establish rules. Okay, and then when they establish rule, for example, A receive good, and then second thing B receive receipt, for example, and then the third one A pay B. Okay, for example, something like this. So yeah, this is very simplistic rule. So we have A receive good, B receive receipt, for example, and then A pay B. So these are if this is the rule and both party A and B agrees, okay, so they can come up with a smart contract and then they will execute it when the time comes. So contract can be seen as a set of rules that I mentioned just now. Okay, it's a simple program. I'm going to skip this because I think we ran out of time. Okay, it's a contract. It's a contract. Now it's a digital contract. So we have a digital contract. Once I receive my goods, that I'm going to pay, for example, something like that. So we can have a more complex contract. So it's based on time or based on the condition, and definitely the most important thing is automation. So we have some automated approach. We don't have to use manual. One way to illustrate the usage of the smart contract is in this insurance loss of baggage or something like that. So for example, in the insurance application, we can provide information on flight number, departure date, country of residence, and then we choose what kind of insurance do we want. Okay, and then upon the payment, the record stored on the blockchain, no change. So we can add that when we buy the coverage, then we can add that one inside the blockchain. Okay, so if something happened, so for example, flight delay, right? Flight delay. So if this is the rule, inside the coverage that if flight delay, then you will be paying something, right? So if the flight delay, the smart contract will automatically invoke this process, and then it will automatically bank into your account. Okay. So now it's very transparent, very high integrity. You don't have to go to haggle with so many people, right? To claim your money, because it's being done automatically. So this is an example of the smart contract in blockchain, insurance, for example. So like I said, the blockchain system is a carbon copy system that replaces our old receipts. Okay, so by default, like always, it stores information about the transaction. Okay, so bear in mind this. In this sense, blockchain system is not a database like full-fledged database. Bear in mind that, not that some people do try to come up with a database of blockchain, but the original form of blockchain is this, meaning that the one that is being stored inside the block of the blockchain, usually what is on the receipt, not the real content, right? Not the real content. That is the original thing. It's just the receipt. That is the blockchain. So please remember that, right? And then initially being used for cryptocurrency, but have been expanded to others. So, for example, we look at the digital stocks, digital key, and digital certificates. Okay. Moving on to blockchain in IoT. So while IoT device function as sensors, input data collectors, blockchain is a platform for security, verification, traceability, control, track, and the smart contract. So blockchain, it's used for security, for authentication. So IoT, remember you have so many devices in IoT. So how to ensure that that device is the authorized device, for example. Okay? So we have this device that reads some temperature information. So first, of course, we want to register that device. So the way we can do it is through the blockchain. So using the blockchain, it will automatically assign you with the right token. So you don't have to manually add inside the network. So the system will do the process and automatically add the device for example, the digital certificate. So you can do verification for that, And then for the IoT, if you put in the blockchain, you are able to do some trace. You can trace the history, for example. You cannot just simply remove the data. You can see there is some cancellation, delay, and so on. You can also have, you can incorporate some control into the IoT. For example, this device are authorized to function for 5 hours only, right? Maybe during the daytime only. For example, take the sunlight. Sunlight be 8 hours, right? So we can control that by using, the blockchain. So the paper did not tamper it. So we trace. And the last one, a very important one, is a smart contract, which are able to process dynamically without human intervention.
Right.
So, yeah, yes.
Sir, how many slides shall we conclude within 5 to 10 minutes, sir?
What? I cannot remember. I cannot hear you.
Because, yeah, lunchtime. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 3 more slides.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. 3 more slides. I'm done. Right. So I have some examples. 3 more examples of the blockchain and IoT. Right. Yeah. Of course, the focus is about how can we capture the information and put it into the blockchain. So we can put the IoT sensors collection and so on, like for example, like this one, sound, okay, and put it into the IoT. The next one is, okay, so this is the way, this is an example. I think you can look at my, I'm going to share this slide with you. You can look at this as for example, right? So you have this recorded of the transaction. See, you have the suppliers, forwarding, food processors, and so on. Then you put it inside the block and by the monitoring of the smart contract. So you have another one over here, which is on the operation side. This is the logical side. Okay, so that user can look at the blockchain IoT. Okay. The same thing over here is to monitor every production process in order to obtain critical information, estimating the quality. Sometimes we need to have the quality. For example, like the wine, here is the olive oil. We want to show that we have the utmost quality. So to prove that, we can record in the blockchain, and then the user can inspect that. So this is another project in the blockchain IoT. Okay. And the smart grid, this one is like Dr. Kumar just now. So how to control it if we have multiple sources over here, and then for example, we can distribute. Sometimes we want to use renewable, sometimes traditional. Then we can use the smart contract for that. Okay, and this one is on the digital keys. It's quite complex, but look at it carefully. It's very useful for you. Okay, actually, it's just this guy want to do the charging. They want to charge. They want to charge something. Charging their cars. So this guy want to go here, so charge the car. Okay, but these are all the process that taking place. So about 20 something steps that will allow that process. So this is a token. We use token approach. So this is also good. Okay. Okay. So the conclusion. So there are some examples. These are some of the examples. Opportunities are endless. So blockchain is not full database. Okay. NFT is one of the emerging one right now. And then you also can expect when this fintech is mature, then it can also be integrated with other blockchain implementation. Okay. And then it's important involve multiple parties, demand for this transparency, traceability, integrity, and the contract mechanism. Okay. And I think that's it from me. So any question? Any question from the floor?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Students, any questions?
If you have any questions, come and ask. Use this mic.
Oh, I cannot. How can I share my slide? Already there. Okay, it's in the chat box. Okay. Okay, you can look at the chat box. Yeah, my sites are over there. All right.
Okay.
And you can email me if you have to communicate with me.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable thoughts with us.
Okay. No question?
Yes, sir. No questions.
All right. So thank you for having me for this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernest. We will meet soon with some other programs, sir. IEEE programs.
Okay, sure. You can always.
We can have a separate session, and we will do it, sir, in future.
Yeah, we can have a workshop or something like that. All right. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
இது எப்படி இருக்குமா லீவ்